class, this is Mrs. Pemberton in homework help. So we're going to start today with number 1, and you've already looked at the example. And if you've seen in the example, go ahead and mark that this is a 90-degree angle. That's going to help us as we solve. So number 1 says, what is the measure of angle DBE? And explain. So here's angle DBE. So we're trying to find this little angle right here. Okay, and if you look at it, they told us what angle X was already, or excuse me, what X was. So it's 51 degrees. So we would have 51, we'll go ahead and plug in our X, minus 12, and then that's going to give you, after you do 51 minus 12, 39 degrees. And the reason we can do that as well, we could see what X was. Here's another approach. So if this is 51 degrees, you could also do 90 minus 51, and I know some of you did that, because they're complementary. So you would explain that here. The next one, what is the measure of GBC? So angle G, B, and then C. Okay, so GBC. If you look, you can see that these angles right here and here are vertical. So vertical angles are congruent. So we would say that these angles are vertical, and vertical angles are congruent. And since we know that one's 39 degrees, we also know angle GBC is also 39 degrees. Next, explain how to find angle ABD. Okay, so ABD. Well, if you look at it, you see this straight line. Okay, so we're looking at this angle here, plus this angle is going to be 180 degrees. But here's the cool thing. We already know that this is a 90. So we need another 90 degrees in order to make the full 180. So we would explain that that angle measure is 90 degrees, and you would say something about them being supplementary. Okay, let's scroll to the next page here. Oops. Let me get out of the starboard here. So on your next page, a little bit of help with this one, and I know these last two were a bit of a challenge. So if you look at it, we've talked about in class that this forms a 90-degree angle right here, and then it tells you that this is supplementary, so you have an 80-degree angle here. So if you look at this angle here, okay, because we're trying to find the value of X. And if we look at this angle, knowing that this is 90, this one's going to be 90 minus X, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to set up an equation in order to show that, okay? So we'd have this angle here, okay, plus the 3x minus 10, together is going to be 180. So 90 minus X plus 3x minus 10 equals 180. And then we'll go ahead and combine our like terms. That would give us 2x. 90 minus 10 gives us 80. And then we're just going to solve it. So we'd subtract 80 from both sides. And 2x equals 100. So that means when we divide by 2, x would be 50. And in this case, since it's an angle, this would be 50 degrees right here. Okay? All right, next. On this one, they don't tell you to actually solve it, they're just asking you to explain it, okay? So if you look, you get 180 degrees right here with this straight line. So in order to find STQ is what we're looking for, so STQ. If you look at it, let me switch colors here. So we want this one right here, okay? It's vertical to this one up here. So we'd want to figure out what X is first. And we'd set up an equation because all three of these angles together, when I add them up, they equal 180. So I'd add up all three of these angles together to equal 180. Okay? And then from there I could go ahead and solve for X, you would explain. And I could figure out what this angle is then. And then plus my 90. that's going to give me that angle, which is also vertical. Okay, so those angle relationships are important, and that equation piece. Alright guys, hopefully this is helpful.